I was recently had to unfollow someone because they're like, don't drink celery juice. Don't have fresh squeezed orange juice. Don't do this.
Don't eat
have
vegetables.
this.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Don't
Is
eat
it a guy?
vegetables anymore.
He's so up his ass. I can't stand him.
But it's like everything all of a sudden.
Yeah. Stay inside. Go nowhere. Touch nothing.
All of a sudden,
Literally.
everything's toxic, and you're like, "Wait, what? I can't eat vegetables anymore. I can't breathe anymore. It's too much. We have to live our lives. It's okay if everything's not perfect all the time."
The big silence, empowering personal experiences and healing lives. We are no longer silent. We are here.
The Big Silence. The Big
All right.
Silence.
Welcome to the Big Silence podcast, Danielle and Kayleigh.
Thank you for having us.
here.
Love having you. We were already chatting so much before this. Welcome to Austin, Texas.
We love it here, and honestly, the weather is perfect right now, minus the cedar fever, but the rest of the weather is perfect.
Yeah, you ladies came at a great time. It's always, you never know what you're going to get in Austin. So,
Oh, that's fun. That's part of the fun of it. We're in San Diego. It's sunny, and if it rains, it will be sunny the day after that.
yeah.
It's very LA, San Diego, pretty similar, right? But when I packed for this trip, I was like, it's gonna be 72. It got here, it was 36. And my friends that live here are like, that's normal. I was like, oh, interesting.
You're like, it's an ice storm one day and then it's 80 and
Yeah.
then 105. But I'm so excited to have this conversation with you. Number one, because I realized, and we're going to get to this, but I realized the correlation of mental health and skin.
Mm-hmm.
And so I definitely want to deep dive into this. And there's going to be so many questions and so many takeaways from this conversation that this is probably one that I've been doing my research the past couple of days. And I'm really excited to dive into this. And so ClearStem, we've got Kayleigh and Danielle, founders. Let's talk about how ClearStem came about, your acne journey, your journey getting into skincare. I'd love to hear that.
Yeah, so Kayleigh and I both struggle with our skin. Had really aggressive acne. I struggle with it really bad, grade 4 cystic acne on both sides of my family. So it was a really big part of my life for a very long time, and actually still is. The big story is that, starting at 18, I get to college and my skin just erupts horrible all over. 'Cause I wasn't playing soccer anymore. I started wearing makeup. I got on birth control, started partying, eating dorm food. It was just the perfect storm. So my skin got really terrible, and I entered into the pharmaceutical cycle of antibiotics, different birth controls. Fast forward throughout my entire 20s, I had to do Accutane 3 separate times, and it still came right back. So it was very, very devastating to have to be dealing with it, and then to go through it, to, think you have a solution 3 separate times, and then for that solution to fail 3 separate times. It was wild. And the time the third round of Accutane failed, I was 29. And most people are like, oh, you should be growing out of this by now. And, it's just it's this whole shame cycle, right? So it was really, really devastating. So I left the corporate world. I was like, screw this, I'll figure it out myself. I happened to have a biology background, studied immunology, cellular biology, and genetics all through college, and was going to go into medicine, but got completely disenchanted with our system because of what I went through. I was like, I don't want to write prescriptions all day. So went back to school and wound up having to become an esthetician because that was the only way I could get access to the information. You can't just go take a class on skin generally, right? You have to be a licensed esthetician or in school. So it's like, I will enroll in school then. I'm going to do whatever it takes to solve this. So that's pretty much where I saw that treating acne was the medical profession I had always wanted, but didn't know existed. And I was hooked. So shadowed under a bunch of people in San Diego, people that had had their med spas for a while. I learned a ton. Then I opened San Diego Acne Clinic. And that was 10 years ago, actually. And I met Kayleigh here as one of my first patients.
Wow. 10 years ago. That's pretty cool that you even opened up a business that long ago. And then, okay, so how did you meet Kayleigh?
So I met Danielle because I was one of her clinic patients.
Yeah.
So I struggled the most with acne in my mid-20s. As a teenager, I struggled with traditional teenage acne. I used Proactive. I was put on birth control at age 14 for not only acne, but for mood swings. When in reality, I would have just loved to be put in therapy. But literally, I was put on birth control for mood swings and acne just because I was a very emotional kid with divorced parents and a mess. Yeah.
Okay, we can talk about our youth. Let me tell you.
Yeah. So mood swings and acne I was put on birth control for, and that had my acne pretty much under control. When I was in my mid-20s, I went back to school to study holistic nutrition. I became really passionate about the connection of what we're putting on our skin, in our bodies, how intuitive we are with eating, and just the effects that it has. And so I decided to get off all an anti-anxiety antidepressant and also birth control at the time. So I decided to get off both. And a few months later, my skin completely freaked out. It just full blown eruption. And because I had never dealt with aggressive cystic acne, I had no idea where to turn. I didn't know what a proper skincare routine looked like. I didn't know that pore cloggers topically are a massive, massive cause of acne. Even though I was a holistic nutritionist, I didn't understand the very nuanced acne triggers that aren't your typical ones that show up when you Google, and even ones that you learn in nutrition school, in dietitian, as a naturopath. These very specific acne nuances aren't taught. And so I was putting myself on all different protocols. I was purchasing every skincare that was marketing towards acne that you can possibly imagine. I was going into Sephora, being like, what do you have that helps with acne? I was just handed like random oils and who knows? I had so many things. So this kept going on for months and months and months and months. I went to every single doctor, dermatologist I could possibly find, and I was handed Accutane, spironolactone, birth control, and antibiotics. Like when I would constantly push back on each, they'd be like, this is the only solution. This is the only thing that'll fix it. When I tried to dig a little deeper and say, okay, I understand you're trying to give me antibiotics, but how will this help? Like, can you explain it to me? Like, what's going on in my body? And they're like, I don't know, just try it.
Right. They didn't want to be like, what do you eat? What's your
Never.
exercise routine? How is your mental state?
Nope.
Are you under
Prescriptions and
stress?
Cetaphil
Yeah.
is all I was handed. And so I didn't want to go any of those routes. I was so passionate about not only going back to school to study nutrition, but just everything I was learning and the connection with the body. I felt like it was going backwards for me to start taking prescriptions. I'm like, I want to heal my body myself without the use of prescriptions personally. So I was actually really close to going on Accutane because this was like 8-9 months of so many doctor's appointments, so much skincare, so many protocols. I was destroying my skin even more because I was just testing everything wrong. They want you to be on birth control if you won't be on birth control, because I wouldn't. You have to like sign so many papers. And right before I was about to go on it, one last Google search and up popped San Diego Acne Clinic. And it was crazy because I went on our website and was reading all the Yelp reviews. And I was like, whoa, this is the first person that I feel like gets me. I didn't feel alone. I saw so many before and afters and testimonials of people that sounded just like me and what I was going through. And I hadn't found this to this point because this was 8 years ago, 8 or 9 years ago. So social media, TikTok didn't exist, and social media wasn't what it is today where so many people are sharing their acne journeys. No one did. So I truly felt like I was the only one going through this. So I was like, all right, this is my last ditch effort before going on prescriptions. I've tried everything. Like, what else could I possibly do? And I ended up being Danielle's last patient of the day. So we had 3 hours together. She had me bring in every single skincare, makeup, and hair care product I was using and taught me what was absolute trash, what was just marketing. But more importantly, she taught me about pore cloggers because I feel like no one talks about that and how much that aggravates acne. You can be doing all the right things internally, and if you're still using products with pore clogging ingredients, you're never going to heal your acne. So we found about 12 different acne triggers going on in my lifestyle, diet, pore cloggers, not being on a proper skincare routine. And that doesn't need to be an 8-step routine. It can literally be a 4-step routine. And in a matter of 2 months, Danielle completely cleared my skin with no scar damage. And I had such aggressive cystic acne that I should have gotten the PIC scarring, like the really deep pitted scars. I should have gotten that.
Yeah, you have like nothing. Your skin
you would
is
never. The before and after is both on our ClearStem page and then also pinned to my personal Instagram at the top.
Okay.
It's really aggressive. It was really aggressive. And I credit the no scar damage to the blue bottle you have over there, Salvernew. Danielle was starting to develop it at the time that I met her. And that it took away all my scars.
Yeah, so San Diego's a big melting pot, and I had every different skin type, ethnicity, personality type, even like literally everyone that could ever walk through my door in any combination of traits I was treating. And if somebody has what we call a darker Fitzpatrick, meaning like how dark your skin naturally is and how dark you're able to tan. So if your Fitzpatrick is a 4 or higher, you scar really easily. And that means the acne is scarring you, but then also to do a laser or to do an aggressive peel, that could also scar you too. So I knew I needed to heal their scars from a different angle. So I started formulating a product and I knew what I wanted it to have ingredient wise. Needed to be anti-inflammatory, needed to help with hormonal balance topically, needed to be soothing, and also needed to be rubbed in. And it also needed growth factors, right? Because scars don't heal when they're in an aggressive environment. And that's why things like Redness, for example, don't really work for people and they can make scarring worse. So I knew what didn't work and why for the masses, and I knew what it needed to have. And so I basically took that police sketch of a product and I went to a bunch of different labs that were in Southern California. And I said, can you make this for me? And I found one that would take on my project, even though I was so small, because her son had acne and she believed in what I was doing. So she made the product for me and I would get lab samples back because, you tell the chemist what you want. They put it together. They give you lab samples with different, aromas, different viscosities, et cetera. And then you test it. And I was giving some to Kayleigh because we were at the point where we'd healed the acne. We were just working on scarring.
Yeah.
So I would give her all these lab samples. I'm like, all right, tell me what you think of these two. Nailed it, right? Like the home run product emerged. It is Cell Renew. A client who was an Amazon guy and he put it on Amazon. He's like, this stuff is gold. Let me try to sell this for you. And I was like, yeah, go for it. Blew up. We knew it was a thing. It had legs and people wanted more because you can't just heal your skin with one product, right? So even though this item did what I intended it to do, it became very clear that we needed a whole system. So that's pretty much how ClearStem is what it is today. Like we were one SKU and it was a hobby. We both had other careers and we were like, no, people need more of this. They need more of us. We're going to do this. And that became ClearStem.
So, okay, let's go back to that first appointment. It was 3 hours. You became closer and became friends, I assume. And then you decided to go into business. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an involvement because my acne was so aggressive. I was actually seeing Danielle every other week for extractions.
Yeah.
And to do light peeling. And normally you just like relax and chill and don't talk when you're getting a facial. The two of us like couldn't stop talking. The whole time I would lay on her table and it was almost a 2-hour appointment because the extractions, peel, like everything is probably 2 hours all in every other week for months.
Yeah.
At a time.
Normally it's 45 minutes, but I'd always book extra time.
She would always book me as her last client of the day. So, so we could literally just talk the whole time. And we're cut from the same cloth. We have the same goals and views and certain things, but we both come at things so differently, which makes it for such fun conversation because we feed off each other and you both feed each other like new information, but ones that we're both just such learners at heart.
Yeah.
We love learning. We love educating. And so we just had such fun banter and we love to talk about all the same things and go deep.
Yeah, no, I love that. I obviously with Tone It Up, the same experience. And we were talking about, you were OG Tone It Up, 13 years, still got the PDF. I'm like, can we go back to PDFs?
I know. Well, I remember back to my skincare routine that Danielle gave me on my first appointments. Like she printed out the pore-clogging ingredients list and I would literally have it in my bathroom and I'd check against everything that was in my cabinet, but also anything new I was buying. And I also had my skincare routine like written out on a piece of paper that I would, because I wasn't used to doing a skincare routine. I was like, okay, what order do I do things in? And I remember I had it in my bathroom for so long, just like scribbled out.
So Danielle, ClearStem, the name, stem cells. Can you explain what that is and how you choose your ingredient?
Definitely. So the name ClearStem was actually just meant to be that one product.
Yeah.
Because it was a stem cell based serum for clear skin. And the name I didn't put a lot of thought into it actually. Yeah.
Kind of hits though.
Yeah, right. It kind of landed. Lucky us. It was meant to be just that one product. And the growth factors is really like the stem part of it. We select ingredients that are anti-inflammatory. Like every formula has anti-inflammatories, like a lot of them. Like there's arnica, there's turmeric, depending on the formula, there'll be the right blend for that consistency. But then there's growth factors and then there's collagen stimulation ingredients too, because what I found with this product was my clients were coming back to me and being like, my wrinkles are better, my melasma is better, my skin is better. I was actually experiencing that too. And I'm like, this isn't just acne. These ingredients are what you need for anti-aging as well. You need growth factors for healing scars and acne damage. You also need growth factors for preventing wrinkles. You also want anti-inflammatory ingredients for acne, but you also need those for anti-aging. So I had trouble describing what this product was. And I was like, this is anti-aging and anti-acne. Like, can we do this? And people told us no. But we were like, no, you absolutely can. And we should, because normally acne products are harsh, drying, they make you age faster because they're so bad for your barrier, and that's what makes you get UV damage faster. But then you try to do anti-aging products and they break you out because of all the pore cloggers and chemicals in them. So getting rid of the bad stuff, adding all the good, choosing formulas that were good for all skin types. Like we really had anti-aging meets anti-acne, and that's the entire crux of the line. Even though everyone else that we had talked to said it was too confusing and that we needed to pick a lane, we were like, no, this is our lane.
Yeah, make your own lane.
Yes, we made our own lane.
And guess what? People want anti-aging and anti-acne.
Hey, I'm about to turn 43. And we're going to get into the anti-aging questions and community questions as well. But I've never personally had acne problems, but my sister did. And is acne genetic or
Yeah, it's genetic at its core, but then there's environmental factors and dietary factors that determine how bad it gets, right? And determine the severity and the type. So if you have the genetic predisposition, it's generally something called hyperkeratosis, where we make more skin protein than the average person. So someone who's extremely acneic and gets cystic acne like I do, my skin just might produce 5 times more keratin protein than, say, you who you don't break out. So it could just be like that keratin production mechanism is just different. And that is the core of it a lot of times. There's also other genetic things that come into play, like, gut health, hormone metabolism, thyroid disorders. Like so much is genetic these days.
Yeah.
So I don't want to say that it's ever just one thing, but that is the main thing, the keratin production. Your sister may have gotten it and you might not have gotten it. The same way your sister can have wavy hair and you get straight hair.
She does have wavy hair.
There you go.
And there's a lot of people too, if they're not like highly genetically predisposed to it, they might all of a sudden deal with acne really aggressively for the first time in their 30s. And it could be toxic overload related. So it could be mold, it could be gut dysbiosis, it could be the liver is just so sluggish and it's just taking on too much between the livers and the kidney. So it can be a lot of things that just occur over time. Like again, people living in a really moldy house, it's a toxic overload that the bucket eventually starts to spill over. And a lot of times acne can be the signal that our body is giving us that something is going on inside. And, our body can't necessarily talk to us. The way it talks to us is through pain or acne or something coming out, a rash on the body. So acne can be a huge signal of something's off internally. And we need to do some lab work to figure out what's going on.
Yeah. So let's segue with that into mental health and skin. I had Dr. Julia Britz on the podcast a while back, and she talks about anxiety and the hormone changes causing acne. What are your thoughts on that?
That's huge. Stress and the effect that cortisol plays on your skin is absolutely like front and center. So, the ironic thing is that, we live in a stressful world. Everyone's got environmental stressors. Even if you're a peaceful person, you still have environmental stressors. There's still stuff in your water. There's still stuff in the air. We live on a grid, so those things are present whether we face them or not. And then, once you become aware of them, great. Now you actually have to do something about it. And that can create a whole, cascade of stress because you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I'm starting with my food and getting rid of all the toxic ingredients in my food. Okay, that's one thing. And then you start to learn more like, okay, the EMF, like, do I need to unplug my Wi-Fi at night? Then you start learning about other things like, okay, I got to start taking supplements now, but then the supplement quality and, there's some supplements that affect my hormones and I don't know which ones, so like the stress can kind of snowball even with wellness. Like we see it all the time and we call it wellness madness.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's a thing. So when you're finding yourself in a stressful thought loop or a stressful, period in your life, because we're all going to have them, it's important to really do the grounding things like focusing on your sleep, your breathing, getting off your device as much as you can, and just being as gentle with yourself as possible, which is really hard when you look in the mirror and your skin is not, you're not loving what's looking back at you. So that's why acne can be so psychologically devastating because it's just like a cycle that feeds itself.
It's really interesting too. We've been told before when we're filming content or if you want to grow your platforms faster to be really, really definitive on stances around things, right? Like we know the people that are more clickbaity that are like, don't do this, this will cause this. And they're like really, really intense. Danielle and I refuse to do that because it does trigger massive stress and anxiety in people. Like if you're just listing off all these things like never do this, never do that, like you absolutely can't ever eat this ever again in your life. It's so toxic for you, right?
Yes.
We know how much acne already causes anxiety, stress, depression. It's already so linked that there's nuances to everything. We've brought caveats to things. We're like, okay, we're not a fan of this, but here's why. And this is in moderation. And we do play the middle ground on things because we purposely don't want to make people's lives more stressful. We bring awareness and education without saying it in a really intense clickbaity way that
Thank you.
stresses people out.
Yeah,
They're
I know.
scrolling through, it's like really stressful and
It
it makes people feel like they're
is.
doing everything wrong. And I don't like that. And I refuse to say things to be really clickbaity.
Yeah, and moderation is healthy. Like,
Yeah.
I'll just share this with people. Like, if I'm having a really shit day, like say I'm PMSing or just like some days are just shitty, right?
Yeah.
You can't win them
Yeah.
all. So if you're having a shit day, you know what I do? I go to Panda Express and I get orange chicken.
Hell
And
yeah.
at
I
that
love
point, it's medicine because it's relieving my cortisol.
Okay.
And
Hey.
that's moderation.
Yeah.
You know what? I know. I was recently had to unfollow someone because they're like, don't drink celery juice. Don't have fresh squeezed orange juice. Don't do this.
Don't eat
Oh, I
vegetables.
think, I think I know
Don't
who you're
have-
talking
Yeah.
about.
Don't
Is
eat
it a guy?
vegetables anymore.
He's so up his ass. I can't stand him.
But it's like everything all
have
of a sudden.
sex.
Yeah.
Yeah, stay inside. Go nowhere. Touch nothing.
All of a sudden
Literally.
everything's toxic and you're like, wait, what? I can't eat vegetables anymore. I can't like breathe anymore. It's too much. We have to live our lives. It's okay if
Yeah.
like everything's not perfect all the time.
And I think normalizing acne is important too,
Yes.
where it's like it's part of life. It's like we normalize the stigma around mental health. Why I think it's really important with your message too, like normalizing like this happens. It happens to so many people and you're not the only one.
Yeah.
And making, especially the youth. I mean, I was talking to my sister today about you ladies coming over here and she's like, I used to go through high school with my hair over my face.
Yeah. It's common.
And she's like, there was one teacher who like grabbed me and was like, Rachel, you are so beautiful. Don't let that acne tell you you're not.
Aw.
I love that teacher.
Right? And Rachel was like, I didn't hear that at home.
Yeah.
So I think it's so important, even the message, like we can heal ourselves, we can heal our skin mentally, all of these things. I think it's just normalizing that conversation for people to be like, this is it. This is,
Yeah.
And so that brings me to when we're on the mental health part, stress and eczema and psoriasis. Although I've never had a problem with acne, I get psoriasis when I'm stressed.
Psoriasis is really annoying. It can be just as
Yeah.
troubling. I mean, it's not, maybe as troubling as, cystic acne on your face, but it's very itchy and irritating and you don't want to show your skin. And it's just like, you always notice it.
Yeah.
You can't cover it with makeup and forget about it for a while. Like it's very annoying.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I also have noticed as far as internal root causes of that, just for anyone listening, psoriasis is very much linked to mold toxicity. And a lot of people don't even know because they're like, I'm eating so clean, I'm doing all the right things, because gluten can also be a massive trigger of both
Yeah.
eczema and psoriasis. So it's like, even if they've removed gluten and it's still an issue, and they've also cleaned up their skincare, so they're using not irritating products, they're using non-pore clogging ingredients, to definitely get a mold test done
Yeah.
with psoriasis. And because mold can actually trigger anxiety and depression too.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
someone can have a mold overload in their body and
Shit.
they're all of a sudden dealing with like so much anxiety, so much depression. They might have a rash coming up. So I always just like to provide that if someone wants to dig a little bit deeper, that lab work can really help. And usually it's mold.
Yeah.
But mold just can snowball in a lot of different ways, but very much also linked to mental health, anxiety, and depression.
Yeah. I know for myself, I know when I'm in a period of my life where I'm highly anxious and something's heavy going on, whether it's work or my mother's passing or this, like that's when it comes. And even, me being in the fitness industry for so many years, I would, even though it wasn't on my face, it would be all over my stomach, the
Yeah.
psoriasis.
Oh my gosh.
And so I would like
Yeah.
cover up, and everyone's like, why is Karena wearing a tank top? It's like,
yeah. And then
it's
people,
I mean,
yeah.
silly. We were talking, the fitness industry has changed quite a bit over 15 years. But yeah, I would always have that, or it's like on my neck or my hairline. But I've figured out all those ways to like calm down and the
Yeah.
inflammation.
What's worked for you? Because I just feel like it's really helpful for people to like pick up little nuggets
Yeah.
along the way for what helps for everyone. So what has really helped you, and mentally what helped? you during that?
I would say I meditate more. It's really important to calm myself down. I'm really big into meditation. And actually, I had this question written down for you. I use red light when I have psoriasis flare-ups.
Yeah.
That's a good
What do you,
one.
yeah.
Mhm.
I have a photo of red light that I used when I had a big flare-up. In 3 days, it was like gone.
Wow. Yeah. We're big fans of red light.
Yeah. Do you
Just to
wanna,
incorporate. Like, it doesn't fix everything in the world, right? But it's
yeah.
like that addition. It's because it can just help relieve so much of the inflammation
Yeah.
and just calm everything down. Yeah.
So, from your expertise, how can someone get red light therapy for skin conditions and in an affordable way?
With the body, you definitely need the bigger,
Yeah.
devices, and those can get kind of pricey. I think that investing in yourself that way, like if you have a chronic skin condition, you pretty much do anything to solve it, right?
Yeah.
So, if your budget is not that high yet, okay, prioritize it. What else can you cut out that you don't need? Cut that out, save some money for a couple months, and then get that thing. Invest in yourself always, right? The Juve, I think, is
Yeah, Juve
that's
is
the
a
one
good
you
one.
really
I'm
like.
blanking on a few brands because I've been recently saving a couple because I get this question a
Yeah.
lot, and I actually always blank on the brand that because I have a smaller Juve and then I have a full body one. I think it's just Red Light Co., but it has a lot of like clinical study backing because it's just important to get a quality one for wavelength. So I'd rather not spend on a cheap one that
Yeah.
doesn't
Yeah.
have the
Yeah.
correct. Because there's red and then there's infrared. So like the
Yeah.
one that I have, you can actually click in between. You turn the red light on, but then you also turn the infrared on. It has 4 different wavelengths for the infrared. So it is important that you are getting both for it in the proper wavelengths that you want. And if there's only one wavelength option, I just suggest the one that's for like the relaxation. Wait, I don't have them all memorized, like the delta, theta. I always like forget the order, not my expertise. I literally have to like look it up all the time. I'm like, oh yeah, this wavelength.
Yeah. Another one that is useful that I just bought is from Soluma.
Ooh,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, it's about, I think mine was like 1,600, but it's like a pretty big panel. Like you could put it over your tummy, you could put
Yeah.
it over your chest, you can put it over your whole face and chest. Like it's a pretty good one.
Yeah, I think saving up for the bigger one, and then, of course, all of them have payment plans now
Yeah.
with the one.
Yeah.
So I think it's better to save up and get a bigger one than is a smaller one, especially if you're dealing with on other areas of your body.
Yeah, I really do think red light has been like so healing.
Amazing.
So healing.
Which one do you have?
I have, it's like in the infrared sauna in the jacuzzi.
Oh,
It has
and it
like
has
the
the things.
big,
Okay,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then for infrared, I also have sauna blanket, the My High one. It just has infrared, not the
Oh.
red light.
I like that.
And then I've used on my face something by, oh gosh,
I
there's
know, I
so
literally always
many.
It's
forget
okay.
that
There's so many.
Wait,
Yeah.
Higher Dose has
Oh,
a
Higher
Higher
red
Dose
Dose
light.
has
yeah,
one.
they have a
Yeah.
good one.
Omnilux has a
Just-
pretty good one.
yeah.
Mhm. Yeah.
Oh gosh, we need to do a whole like blog. There's just so much.
I know, I
now.
literally keep screenshotting them to provide alternatives to people because I just forget the brands of them. Sorry.
So we've talked about like the mental health effects on your skin. And I have so many questions just about skin in general. We'll start with a question from me.
Love. Yes, let's get to it.
Allergies and skin. So for me, like we were talking about cedar fever,
Mhm.
itchy red yesterday. My eyes were all red and puffy
Yep.
and my lips. What do you do?
Zyrtec,
Yeah.
Claritin, pick your favorite. Yeah.
That just,
For allergy, I mean, it really is like
yeah.
kind of that simple. So yay, we get a simple one. Like,
Okay.
And then there's some additional ones that you can take to like homeopathically to help support your body. I know I might be pronouncing it wrong, but the Boreon company makes
Mhm.
quite a few different allergies for different ones. Like if you go to Sprouts or Whole Foods has the little sheet of paper that you can look at and go through and pick for very specific reasons. And then Symbiotica makes an allergy defense that I
Okay.
like to take too.
Yeah.
As like is in addition to because like those won't take away the heavy symptoms. So like Danielle said, like sometimes you like cannot get through the day and you gotta
Yeah.
do like,
yeah,
the zero
I don't fuck
Claritin.
around. I just
But
go for
then-
the stuff that's gonna work.
Yeah, but then I like add on those other ones to be like helping it at the root at the same time. So it's just tackling both at the same time.
So then let's talk about supplements and
Mhm.
skincare overall. Like what supplements do you suggest? Do people take too many supplements or guide us?
Yeah, there's a lot of supplements that actually spike your testosterone and can cause hormonal acne. And you won't get that information at your
From your
typical
doctor.
dermatologist's
Yeah.
office. Nope. they're not even thinking like that, right? You
Yeah.
might get that information from a functional medicine or a naturopathic, but they might not understand it in relation to acne. And that's part of why our education is so, so, so important.
Yeah.
So too much B12, and by too much, I mean in supplement form, say around 400% or more RDV. That can be enough if you're really acne prone. Like that'll break me out.
Yeah.
Right. For you, probably won't do anything. So everyone's a little different with their dosages, but B12, zinc, and vitamin D, all when you take too much can spike your testosterone. And this isn't rocket science. Like this is like well known about these particular vitamins, but it's never put in a way that the person struggling with acne needs to hear it. And it's a big part of our education. And then other vitamins, like for hair, skin, and nails, those classic ones, even Nutrafol, it's great unless you're acne prone, right? Because biotin creates more of that keratin production that's already part of the problem. So that's why, biotin makes your hair grow, but it also makes your keratin in your skin grow, and your pores can just get so clogged, and you can start getting little bumps on your arms, keratosis pilaris. So people who are really acne prone, they know to stay away from biotin. It doesn't mess with your hormones so much, but it will mess with your keratin production. Then there's other vitamins that we absolutely love. Anything that will optimize digestion.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go
digestive
for it.
enzymes, like
Yeah.
all day, every day, can't go wrong. You're not going to really become dependent on them,
So gut health in your skin is a big thing.
I like to think of digestion. I like to think of them a little differently. Think of it a little differently than gut health. Yes, they are so correlated, of course, but digestion in your stomach, breaking down your food with the right enzymes and acids, so important. Very different from probiotics and gut flora.
Mhm.
Yes, they talk to each other. Yes, the relationship is one, but people generally aren't breaking down their food very well in their stomach, and it creates a whole toxic cascade in their system, and it shows up in their skin. So you can take all the probiotics you want, but if your issue's in your actual stomach, you're going to see it in your skin.
For me, if I get a terrible couple nights of sleep, I just feel like my skin is just itching and more red.
Yeah.
And what is the correlation between sleep and skin?
It's adding more stress to your body. So any inflammatory condition for you. So for us, that's acne. For you, that's rashes, psoriasis. For some people, it's sinus issues. For some people, it's actually joint pain. So however your body decides to show inflammation is going to be triggered by anything inflammatory. So whether it's the foods that you're eating or not enough sleep, the body hasn't been able to get in a proper rest state to actually rejuvenate, reset, help heal all of your organs. And so when it doesn't get to do its full cycle every single night, it's kind of stopping your body short each time. And it's waking up in this inflamed state that is very reactionary and behind and trying to give you signals like, hey, I'm stressed out. I need more rest. I need more sleep. I need to be nourished with good food. I need you to slow down a little bit. So just a signal our body is giving you that's like, okay, this is too much. You need rest.
Okay. Tips for good rest.
Oh, we were actually just talking about this on the
really?
ride
Yeah.
over. Just how much Danielle and I prioritize sleep so much. You will never hear us be like 5 a.m. wake up club, drinking caffeine. No. We sleep. We can't. How can we run a company and give like not only give to ourselves, give to each other, give to our employees without getting proper rest? We're not going to be our best selves. You're more irritable, irritated, can handle less stress. Stress load is just a lot heavier on a poor night's sleep. So we talk about not watching TV right before bed. And my boyfriend and I love watching a movie or TV show before bed, but we try to give it like a 30 to 40-minute gap before we're actually going to sleep. So I typically like to read in bed before to just really wind down my body. So limiting technology is number one. And usually that's the hardest for people, but the hardest is the one that you need to do. Putting your phone down, plugging your phone in another room or your bathroom, somewhere where it's at least 8 feet from your head. There's an 8 feet perimeter around you where Wi-Fi can be emitting really harshly. So if you have a TV plugged in within 8 feet, anything pretty much plugged in, you should unplug before bed so that's not emitting nonstop Wi-Fi. And just the issue with that is it's just activating your brain the entire night. So the Wi-Fi that's being emitted from it is just hitting. So your brain actually never gets into the rest mode that it needs if it's being bombarded all night.
Do vibrators count?
So
Just unplug it.
wait, that's a good way to rest.
Yeah.
too. But okay, so I like to go to bed to a sleep story on Calm. Matthew McConaughey's voice.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds
But
amazing.
It's next.
I want to
on
wake up to his voice. I want to live my whole day to his voice.
Literally.
But my phone then is on the bedside table. So what do?
I would see if you can do headphone. Like I would want to test it so it doesn't mess up your alarm in the morning.
I don't have
But
an alarm.
Nice.
Oh, perfect. Then yeah, just wear headphones, then take your headphones out and put them back in the case and like put them somewhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna do this.
Yeah,
See?
and I don't know, and I don't want to misspeak. I don't know if I haven't tested it with like a Wi-Fi device, but if the AirPods, when they're in the case, they might be admitting something. So you can always put it in like one of those Wi-Fi blocker cloths.
Bags.
Yeah, just like throw it in.
Yeah.
And then that way you don't have to get up and you can just close your headphones. It'll shut down on your phone and you'll be good.
Yeah. No, I don't set an alarm because I wake up within 15 minutes, same time
Yeah.
every day. So,
That's
and
perfect. Not waking up to an alarm is the best. Waking up to an alarm used to spike my cortisol so
Yeah.
much. It was awful. And now I have a sunrise lamp. And
okay.
it's the best.
That's peaceful. I know. I had to stop Bobby from, he would have this like jarring alarm in the morning.
It's
No,
awful.
it's the
And
way
you
to
wake
live.
up, yeah.
No.
You wake up and your cortisol, and you're like in fight or fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if you're right in the middle of a REM cycle. That's
Yeah.
gnarly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, not okay. I also make sure I do my skincare routine and brush my teeth at least a half hour or so before bed because I've noticed that, let's say we're like watching TV and then we're going upstairs to bed and then I do my skincare, my teeth, and I try not to turn the lights on, but I still have to turn on like a dim, like a tiny bit up. It wakes you back up right before you're about to go to sleep. So I do everything I need to do for bedtime enough in advance. So when I'm getting tired, there's nothing else to do but just be in bed and fall asleep.
Yeah. Okay. I want to go to some community questions.
Love
Yeah.
this.
Okay. So this first one, I'm 48 years old. I need help with wrinkles. So let's talk about aging. We haven't
Yeah.
really gone deep into aging. Again, I'll be 43 in March. I love skincare. I've always been just trying to figure out the best way to have,
Your skin looks
Your skin's
flawless.
incredible.
Whatever you're doing
Like-
is working.
I'm
Give
using
us your skincare
I'm
routine.
using ClearStem. I have
love-
been using ClearStem.
Your skin looks flawless.
Thank you.
glowing.
I mean, I have makeup.
But still,
that
you
could be
can
a whole-
tell. Like
that-
you can still tell. Like you have beautiful skin.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I do work hard and I do have sensitive skin too. And so that's what I've loved since I started using ClearStem too, is it doesn't irritate me.
It's anti-inflammatory
Yeah.
by design, darling.
I know.
And we don't put synthetic fragrances and, synthetic preservatives in there. We use vitamin E and probiotics as preservative.
Okay, so fragrance. This is empty.
Oh, I love it.
You do
used
use
it.
Actually, I have more. I can high off my own supply. I use my coupon code, the Big Silence, 15% off. It's arriving today here because I'm about to travel. So I was like, I got to get more. But so I love this. And I always tell Bobby too, like the smell of it. And so it's all natural, no fragrances. Like, what is the smell in here?
It's a blueberry extract.
I know. It's
We
like
actually just
insane.
reformulate. How old is that one?
I don't know. Can you
Let me
tell?
smell it.
Yeah, we might be able to tell by the consistency.
Yeah, this is the new formula.
Yes.
Do you love it?
Yeah.
It's so
It's
glowy.
arriving, yeah.
Yeah, it's out of control.
Yeah.
So
I was
good.
already obsessed with the old formula and the new formula. I'm like, Danielle, what did you just whip up in that lab? Like, what? It's insane.
Yeah. Okay. So women in their 40s and 50s, what should we be using?
First of all, stop using hot water on your face. When you wash your face or you're in the shower, no hot water. It's the thing that's aging you the most, and there's no way to catch up to it because it's happening like every day.
Yeah.
And what hot water does is it annihilates your skin barrier, and that makes you get UV damage faster. Well, it does a couple things actually. So the heat actually denatures and damages your skin protein. And why that's bad is because it creates these little kind of, they're called zombie cells, right? Where they're not healthy cells, but they're replicating anyway. And they're replicating damaged versions of themselves. So then you have this whole cascade of damaged protein that is this, outer layer of your skin.
Mm-hmm.
And depending on how hot of the water it is that you're using, that damage can actually be pretty deep underneath, right? So stop doing that. Remove that inflammation entirely.
Okay.
And then just use lukewarm to cool. And in the morning, generally, you don't need to do an aggressive cleanse. Just splash off with cool water a few times, depending on how oily your skin is, right? You might need to splash off for, 20 seconds. If you're dry, you can splash off once and that might be it for you, right? But the whole point is to preserve your moisture in the morning because when you damage your moisture barrier, you get UV damage faster. Your lipid barrier, your natural oils, that's what protects you from the sun. So when we don't have that, we get sun damage a lot faster. And that, again, damages your skin and creates that cascade effect. So that's really, really important. But then what you should be using is things with peptides. We love peptides. They are little messenger proteins that tell the skin to fix itself. So it will tell your collagen to, plump and produce more. And then there's stem cells and growth factors, and those are important too. That's kind of like signaling to your cells to produce faster because as we age, the cell turnover, the rate of new cells slows down dramatically. So what
Yeah.
we can do to pump it back up, that's really, really important. And dialing in your exfoliation. And that looks different for everyone too. And that's why working with a good esthetician can be a godsend. They'll, say like, okay, you need a physical scrub a couple times a week and it should be this consistency. So if you find that ideal sweet spot, just like your ideal workout routine, that's how you really get the most benefit for your skin. And that's how you keep it looking and behaving more youthful.
Okay, so tell me about this. I've been using this serum and this one.
Yes,
The bounce
Cell
back.
Renew and Bounce Back.
Yeah.
Yes, we don't even plug our own product.
I
You're
am.
like,
I am
talking
because
about
this is just for me. I'm curious, like in my 40s, like what do I need to do?
Yeah, so a perfect routine for someone who is more concerned with anti-aging is the gentle cleanser. How about that be your primary cleanser with lukewarm water or cool? So in the morning, you could do the cool water splash or you could do a little micellar tone, whatever you want to do. Then I do Cell Renew. So I do about 3 to 4 pumps of Cell Renew, which is the blue bottle, and that is hyaluronic, reishi, other adaptogens, and then growth factors essentially. So you're plumping, hydrating, calming, and giving it growth factors. That's really a big boom for that one step. So you do that, and then if your skin's dry, then you put on moisturizer. You don't always
Hydroglow, this one.
Hydroglow. Yeah, you don't always have to put on moisturizer in the morning. I don't because I'm naturally oily. But if your skin is dry, hydrate it. That's the rule.
Like I have to every
out
single
here,
day.
you would.
Yeah.
You would do it out here.
Texas
Yeah.
hydration.
I think when I was 18, I was watching the Oprah Winfrey show. There was somebody on there and it stuck with me from that day. And she was like, hydrate every morning when you wake up and at night and sunscreen. So I started wearing sunscreen before I was 20.
That was good
Beautiful.
advice.
And
Yeah.
hydrate.
Literally the best advice.
Yeah.
And then for everyone listening, making sure that you're using a mineral, not a chemical-based sunscreen.
Yeah, we love zinc.
Like zinc. Yeah.
You guys have a sunscreen.
Mhm.
Or what else do you use? I like, is Kula good? I like Kula.
If you're not acne prone,
Okay.
Yeah, because it depends.
they have
So you want to
coconut
look
oil in a
at
lot of their
you want to look at
formulas.
actives and other ingredients. So
Yeah.
actives, you always want to see zinc in it.
Yeah.
You don't want to see like an oxybenzone or any of the other chemical ones. So active zinc, and then when you look at other ingredients, those are all the filler agents to make it a physical product.
Yeah.
So for anyone who's acne prone, you want to avoid any sunscreen that also have pore clogging ingredients because then you're just going to break out. Which that's why we came out with our 2 sunscreens is because so many of them on the market have pore clogging ingredients.
Yeah.
So people are terrified to use sunscreen. So they're causing all of this accelerated aging and DNA damage to their skin in fear of breaking out. And then if they want to protect their skin, they break out. So it's kind of a double-edged sword. So that's why we wanted to create acne-safe
Do you
versions
guys
of our
have
skincare.
a tinted sunscreen or like moisturizer?
We have a sheer tint to our You Are Sunshine. That's our liquid-based sunscreen, and it's to counteract the zinc. So zinc can typically create a white cast on people's skin. So
Yeah.
to be for all skin types and to basically just melt into your skin tone, it has a sheer tint that just counteracts the whiteness. So it creates this blur effect on your skin on any skin tone. It's pretty cool when you rub it in from the lightest of skin to the darkest of skin. It still rubs in essentially clear, but with this blur effect. So one of my favorite things to do in the morning is just put on You Are Sunshine or do You Are Sunshine with like a pump of, I love the Make Beauty Dew Skin Tint because my skin's drier and that makes your skin a little glowier and dewier. So I'll mix in a little bit of that for additional color.
Next question from Haley. Redness around the nose, chin, and cheeks.
I mean, that could be rosacea.
Mm-hmm.
Redness can mean a lot of different things. Some
Mhm.
people just have really good circulation, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but it can just be aesthetically annoying. If it's actual recurring constant redness, it's probably leaning toward rosacea, and that's internal inflammation. So that's generally going to be in the GI system
Mhm.
somewhere. Gluten's a huge trigger for that. Gluten will bother every skin concern. Like if you have a skin issue of any flavor,
It'll just flare it.
it will flare it.
Yeah.
Vitiligo, I've seen it flare vitiligo even.
Really?
Yeah. Gluten is not your friend. For rosacea, eggs, anything that bothers the lymphatic system is going to make you more red if you're prone to redness. So that's going to be eggs, it's going to be gluten, it's going to be some people react to spicy foods, and then it can be sugar.
Mm.
I'm also thinking of some topicals too. So if this person is using a retinol and their skin just does not like a retinol, or really heavy, like maybe a tretinoin, or they're using multiple really harsh acids and too many of them, it can just cause so much irritation to the skin. So a lot of times it can be just going back to restoring your skin barrier and exactly the routine that Danielle just shared, the gentle clean, Cell Renew, Hydro Glow, Bounce Back can be incorporated in that too, will just help really calm down the skin and restore the skin barrier to get it back to a proper baseline. But I would evaluate everything Danielle talked about internally, a lot of the triggers, but also what topically are you using and is it too many harsh ingredients? We've also been so conditioned over time to dry out our skin to help it. So many people will do acids on acids and not do any moisturizers. They won't be properly doing acids because they'll be combining 3 different ones improperly that don't go together and just constantly destroying their skin to quote burn off what's going on. But that actually has the opposite effect. It just continually inflames and irritates the skin.
Yeah. So, okay, what is the worst thing someone can do for their skin? If you were to choose one thing.
Slather coconut oil all over it.
Really?
Yeah. If you're at all prone to breaking out, it can
Really?
destroy you. Yeah.
I mean, pore clogging or what is it about?
It's extreme. It's the most pore clogging oil. One of the clients that I had to do, I almost wanted to give him like some sort of numbing thing or tell him to come on Valium. Like I had to do so many extractions on this poor kid because his mom was like, go natural, and gave him this like coconut oil tincture that she made. Every pore on his face was clogged with like, and it turns into like a thick wax, like a yellow wax essentially.
Yeah.
And there was no way to get it out. It's so thick that you can't sweat it out. So they had to manually be extracted. And this poor kid, like, I mean, we did it all over a couple of sessions, but it was one of the worst I've seen. And coconut oil is problematic for anyone who's remotely acne prone.
What about coconut oil on your like body though?
If you don't break out there, it's fine.
Yeah.
Like I won't touch the stuff. I won't even like cook with it. I'm like, no, get out of my house. No.
Dang.
Yeah, because some people get back acne, butt acne, back of thigh acne. That's so important to note with coconut oil. But also, even if you don't break out on your body and it's getting on your arms, it can still get on your face. Like you're touching your arms, it's on your hand, then you're touching your face. So it can transfer very easily. So I feel like if you don't break out on your body, legs is probably the safest.
Yeah,
if you
feet.
were like, yeah,
put it on your feet.
as far away from like any contact with your hands as possible.
Okay, let's talk back knee because I have some friends who have that, but like you barely put anything on your back. So what causes that?
Hair care, body wash, and hair care.
Yep.
Mainly hair care, like in order of proportion, like hair care for sure.
Yeah.
About 90, I'm going to call it, because part of what I do, my process at the clinic is I have everyone bring in everything they're using, and that does include their hair products.
Yeah.
About 95+% of hair conditioners and leave-in hair products have a pore clogger in it.
That makes sense.
So if it's on your upper back and your shoulders or kind of in the middle where your hair touches, that's your hair conditioner.
The other 10% is underlying infections you can discover through lab work. If you've changed all of your hair care, skincare, like everything over to non-pore clogging and it's in weird patterns, like not the patterns Danielle was describing where hair would be, that's something to look into further. But we always recommend starting first by removing before you like go down a rabbit hole because it could be as simple as it was your hair conditioner causing it the whole time.
We know that skincare, proper clean skincare can be expensive sometimes for some budgets. Advice for those wanting and needing all things and to keep up with skin trends, but money is a factor.
I don't think you need to keep up with skin trends.
Yeah.
It's a lot of the trends actually end up causing breakouts, irritation. Like what's the newest one? The flaxseed mask. Flaxseed is pore clogging.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Yeah,
I mean, are they grinding it? I saw that
It's
and
like
I was
a
like,
whole-
this is dumb. I'm not even going to look at this. But flax seeds are great internally. They do help with healthy estrogen metabolism. But flax oil is pore clogging topically.
Yeah.
So they're like boiling, however they're doing it. If flax oil is being extracted from it, then it's pore clogging.
Well, are they grinding it up to like an alternative to walnut shell? Or what are they doing?
Boiling it and then letting it soak in water to be like jelly-like and then slathering it over their face and leaving it as a mask. TBD. I don't know.
Trends. They come, they go.
Yeah.
Is
like
this
essentials.
What is sea buckthorn oil?
Oh, we love.
Okay. Somebody asked advice on how to incorporate sea buckthorn oil and if I should use it. I've never heard of this.
It's pretty awesome.
Okay.
So we're actually making a supplement that has
really?
it in there. It's
Okay.
an omega-7, which we often don't get a lot of. Internally and externally, sea buckthorn is amazing.
Yeah.
So we do use a little bit of it in our products. And it's just a really anti-inflammatory, high antioxidant oil that's acne safe. So you can incorporate it a couple of different ways. You can do, having an oil straight up by itself is useful if you're really, really dry, but the more common way to use it is to add it to a moisturizer. So you can use a dropper and just add a few drops to your lotion and just kind of like cocktail it that way. And then internally, you can just take omega-7 sea buckthorn fruit oil, and it helps with a lot of things, actually. Women seek it out sometimes because it can help with vaginal dryness.
Wow, I am learning so much today.
And I just want to touch on the spending aspect too. So back to, we don't need to jump on every single skin trend and buy every new product that exists, because a lot of the new products are very marketing driven instead of functionally driven, because companies have 40 products and they're just trying to find new ones to launch at some point without doing the proper research for it. So if you are on a budget, I highly suggest, for instance, our Clear Kit plus Gentle Clean. That's 5 products, and that's really all you need for your exfoliation, for restoring your skin barrier. Like, that's going to tackle everything you need within that. All the other things, they're fun, the additional, if you want to progress to them, that's amazing, but that will give you your core foundation of skincare. And you don't need to be testing out all of these other things, because it's really the foundations with skincare. It's kind of like eating healthy too. We can buy all these products and try all these new foods and these packaged ingredients, but at the end of the day, if you're eating clean protein, getting some fruits and veggies in, getting some carbs in, like, it's not that complicated. And it's the same with skincare. It's the basics.
I would say it's even the same with working out.
Yes, yeah. Create
Like-
all these like crazy new moves and all these things, and it's like the foundational work back to basics.
Yeah.
Like if you're in a time crunch and can't do a 2-hour gym workout, it's like you can get proper ones done in 30 minutes by doing the basics. It's
Absolutely.
the same thing. Eating, working out, skincare, the basics will always work.
And I'll just speak on the money factor too, because you ladies have given the Big Silence a 15% discount, which, as I mentioned earlier, I've already used. But yeah, so at checkout, you put the Big Silence in the code in at checkout for 15% off. So that definitely helps too. So there's so much information. And do you guys, on your website, is there where you can even get more information?
A lot.
Yeah. I
Yes.
feel like there's so much knowledge out there.
What's the best way to get into it? We have so much. I mean, we host master classes.
Yeah,
If you
actually.
catch one of those, it's fantastic because we'll do a Q&A. But in the meantime, our blog, and then listening to episodes like this.
Yeah.
We'll put all the information in the show notes too. And I also want to point out that ClearStem has partnered with the Big Silence and the foundation. And as being a partner, it all goes to the foundation and benefits the Therapy for All program.
So when everyone orders with their code, a percentage of your sale is actually going directly to the Big Silence. And we're so excited because we love everything you're building and doing and want to contribute in an impactful way.
yes, so grateful. Definitely believe in your product, believe in mental health, believe in just making this world a better place. And that includes skincare.
Thank you.
So where else can we find you, follow your journey?
We are very active on Instagram. We have our amazing team out here with us right now. Shout out to Brittany over there, who helps us create a lot of content for both of our accounts so we can constantly be putting out educational information in very bite-sized formats. So you can find Danielle at Danielle the Acne Guru, myself, Kayleigh.Christina, and then ClearStem across all social channels is ClearStem Skincare.
Thank you, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank
This
you
is
so much.
fun.
You're such an inspiration. We love you.
The Big Silence. The Big Silence.